this is Summer Rayne and it's time for Plant One on Me. I have some questions today, both that came in through YouTube and also Instagram. This one is by Christina Delamora. Christina, by the way, thanks for all your comments. I know that you're one of the top commenters, so I appreciate that. And this is a good question, by the way, Christina. Is there a benefit to the plants if you water them at a specific time of the day, for instance, morning, afternoon, or night, or can it be any time of day? So I prefer to water my plants in the early morning hours. So as soon as I get up on Sunday, which is like my main plant day, I water throughout the week, but on Sunday, that's like kind of when it's between me and my plants. And as soon as the early morning hits, I am watering my plants. And the reason for that is a number of different reasons. Firstly, as it starts to increase in the day, especially in the summer months, it starts to get really hot. And you could, if you accidentally put like water on certain leaves, plant leaves, you could actually burn the leaves. And it's not necessarily very healthy for the plant. And keep in mind that most plants, unless it's maybe a succulent or a cacti, the stomata, which is usually on the underside of the leaves, sometimes on the top of the leaves, start to open again. And the plant will start to breathe in carbon dioxide and actually put out oxygen. And this is its, in a way, it's kind of way to breathe. So when we're putting water in the morning, the plant has all day to kind of soak up that water. And the issue is if you kind of put it at night, that's when the plant is starting to rest. It starts to get a lot cooler. You don't have the sun on the soil any longer, and it could actually stay very moist in the soil, and that could be a detriment to the roots in particular. It's not, be all end all. If you're watering your plants at night and that's the only time that you could water them, it's better to water them than not water them at all. But just make sure that you don't overwater your plants, because that is the number one cause, I think, of plant killing in the home, is actually overwatering your plants as opposed to even underwatering your plants. Although I haven't seen any kind of scientific literature out there, it's just one of the things that I think we get so happy to actually water our plants that we could actually drown them. So stick to the morning hours. Afternoon can get too hot, particularly in the summer. And also at night, that's when the plant is kind of resting, and you'll just have water sitting in the soil or in the basin, and you'd rather have that water transpire from the plant during the day or evaporate out of the soil if it's so you don't have it in wet soil. So hopefully that answers your question, Christina. Okay, and the second question for this episode is from Drats. I forgot to put your name. So sorry about that. I usually like to call people out, and sometimes I just really forget to put people's names when I transcribe them. And I transcribe them because I get questions from all over the place. So I'm sorry about that, but it's a really good question. How do you keep your Maranta looking good? The color of my leaves is paler than they should be, and don't seem to be growing passionately. I don't specifically know what's wrong with your Maranta, but for those of you who don't know what a Maranta is, it's a prayer plant, so it's like one of those really beautiful plants that have gorgeous markings. Sometimes it's striations. They look like they're painted, and the leaves kind of come down during the day, and at night they fold up, reputedly because they want to hold fast to the water. And this is a plant that truly doesn't like bright light. So if you have a space in your house that has a little bit more indirect light, it's away from the wind, slightly away from the window, a Maranta will survive swimmingly well. And a Maranta, as far as the genus within a larger prayer plant family, I find the Maranta is the easiest to take care of. You have calatheas, you have tenanthes, you have thalias, you have a host of others, and I find the Marantas to be the easiest. So to answer your question, if it's starting to look like the leaf is bleaching, I'm gathering that it's probably too close to the light. So what I would do is start to remove it away from that light. There could be some other issues where you might be underwatering your plant, but typically when it starts to bleach or starts to turn a little yellow or crispy around the edges, it probably means that you're not giving enough light and maybe not even enough humidity. So I would try to put it in less well-lit conditions and start to spray it or mist it. Like if you just have a little mister and you could just start to spray the leaves, maybe put it in your bathroom if there's not a tremendous amount of light in your bathroom. And if you're taking hot showers, that kind of atmosphere will probably perk up the plant a lot more. But if your Maranta's not looking good right now, which is like prime time growing season, then I would try to make those tweaks, because right now, like I'll show you some cutaways of my Marantas. They're looking really good because in the spring and summer times they pump out a lot of new leaves and they lose a lot of their old leaves. And old leaves will turn yellow and then just will eventually senesce, and then you could eventually, when they're yellow enough and crisp enough, you could just slice them off. But I pretty much like let my leaves senesce until they're almost ready to fall right off on themselves. So I do hope that answers your question. I don't know if your exact situation, as you didn't clarify anymore, but I've found that my Marantas and my other prayer plants will fold up their leaves. They could look a little bleached if it's too close to the light, and I'll just pull it, a foot or two away from the window. Hope that helps, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel, and you could follow along on Homestead Brooklyn, and also tune into the blog at homesteadbrooklyn.com. There's a lot more things that I talk about in depth. I have a lot more interviews on the blog as well, and you can even sign up for the newsletter. It's a quarterly newsletter. I don't send it out too often, but it has some really cool things that are happening, like workshops that I'm giving in my hood. I'm also doing garden tours, and just a way for you to experience a little bit more plants in your life, and also more plants in the community that I live in. So tune in more, and thanks again for all of your questions. Bye.